Right, welcome back to the channel, guys. Very, very special interview today. You've read from the title. I've got Paul Gerrard with me, one of the leading men behind Hellraiser Origins. Something I've been speaking about a little bit on the channel. The mysterious movie that never happened, which there's very limited information about. So I'm going to hopefully get to the bottom of it today. Welcome to the channel, Paul.
Thank you very much. Yeah, very secretive. I think it's the first time I've ever publicly spoken about anything to do with that, really, any kind of story or the backstory. So yeah, be interesting to get the feedback on that.
Honestly, I'm hugely intrigued. Out of all of the interviews that I do, this is the one where I'm genuinely quite psyched for. Just because I just think it'll be interesting. So you're traditionally a concept artist, aren't you?
I am. I started off in games way back when, and then shifted to movies. And yeah, concept artist for movies, but in the last probably for certain reasons that I've seen the industry change for the worse. So in the last 3 years, I've shifted to more production design and then directing. So the moment I'm directing a feature, but I'm still got my hand in concept art. Yeah.
Okay, wow. All right, well, because I'm aware that you, or at least with respect to Hellraiser Origins, you have you work with Mike Lahan on, or you did. I don't know whether that's still going or.
Yeah, we're still good friends. I mean, the way that came about is I was creating Hellraiser Origins with a couple of other friends. And at the same time, I got asked by Michael Lehan to be the production designer on one of his kind of like a pitch video.
Mm.
And so I started chatting to him about Hellraiser, and I said, look, you know, there's these guys I'm working with in Canada who are going to shoot Origins over there, and it just kind of fell through. Everything kind of fizzled out for one reason or the other.
Right.
And he said, well, you know, I'm shooting this trailer in June down London. Why don't you come down and why don't you shoot Hellraiser on the night time, and he'll shoot his on the day.
Okay.
So that was the plan.
Mm.
But his shoot fell through, but he'd already booked the space. So he said, "Well, I'll tell you what, he'll direct it, and we'll just take over the space, and we'll just use it for Hellraiser Origins." That's how it came about. It was like a bit of a, you know, right place, right time.
Okay. So I think, to be honest, we're probably getting ahead of ourselves. I guess.
Yeah, by about 2 years.
How did you get involved in Hellraiser?
Right.
Tell me about that.
Well, I'd worked with. I mean, I've done a lot of concept art for different studios like Paramount and Sony, but I was kind of jumping on and doing perhaps 6 weeks on a character or 3 weeks on whatever. I was good, but I wanted something that I could really sink my teeth into. And then the director, Alex Perez, reached out, and he said he was doing his version of John Milton's Paradise Lost.
Okay.
So I wanted me to do the demons. And then, so I got involved with that, and that went on for a year. And that was the biggest project I've ever undertook. We're talking like 600 illustrations.
Wow.
So
Wow. I mean,
I
how.
totally consumed Milton's work. So, you know, angels, demons, and hell. And I ended up illustrating, like, I don't know, every demon you could think of, illustrating hell. And then even matte painting for the movie itself. It was just, I loved it.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to for 600 illustrations.
Yeah, that's it. But it got canned. It was too expensive. But straight after that, I thought, you know, what if I could do something that I had control of, but I could do an equal amount of passion. So it's not just you create a character, takes you 3 days, 3 weeks, whatever. You create something that took that amount of time, and it became something more iconic. So that's what I wanted to do. And I was thinking, what do I do? Do I reimagine something? Do I just do something of my own? And it was my partner said, you know, I'm sat here, and there's a pinhead doll on my workstation. And she said, well, why don't you do Hellraiser? And first of all, I thought, no, it's been done. You don't want to do a reboot, remake bollocks that everybody does.
Yeah.
Then the more I got into it, the more I decided, well, that's a big fucking challenge to create an iconic character that you try and surpass something that you hold so dear. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
that in itself was challenging. So that was the start of it all, just to create the character. And it's about it's about creating something that's not just, oh, that looks good. There's a guy in S&M and he's got blood and shit. It was the most esoteric, narrative-driven, I think, occult design I'd ever done. It probably took about 8 months. So every single point of the priest meant something. From the pattern in his head was a game Roman children used to play called the Morella. The ribs were ribs of a fallen angel. Everything, every symbol, the spirals were kind of like old spirals from Neolithic era. And if you could take every piece of esoteric imagery, you'd be able to decipher the story from his visual reference. That was,
Wow.
that was the goal.
Wow. Jeez. I didn't get that from looking at it. Jesus Christ. Wow.
I mean, it's been so long. Like the male and female symbols on his chest, the symbol of the all-seeing eye, which means he's connected to his male and female side, but he has no genitalia. Chakra points are all distorted, so his spiritual floor is in total flux. So he's in purpose-built pain from spiritual desolation. That's what I was trying to do. Yeah,
I mean, that's awesome. That is genuinely awesome. So, I want to talk more about that, but I think it's best to kind of approach it from how. So you started working on it, and then.
Well, there's a friend of mine called John Gallagher who we kind of started together. We were chatting about it, and he said, he knows some guys in Canada that maybe shoot a pitch. Because at that point, I was thinking, I just want to create the character. I'm not bothered about pitching, movies, all that stuff.
Yep.
At the time, I had no interest in directing or production design. I was purely about creating, or rebranding iconic characters. But he said he's got some friends who could write something and maybe direct something, and then we pitch it because we knew that Dimension were looking for something different. I thought, right, okay, fine, I'll do that. And for one reason or the other, that kind of fell through. And then I had this thing with Mikey Han, so I decided, well, me being me, I can't let go of anything. If I'm on something, if I'm mentally and physically, obsessed with something, I can't let it go. It's just not in me. So I took the reins and I kind of ran with it a bit more. So the goal was to make maybe a 4-minute pitch trailer that would introduce you to more of a kind of a sandbox world than anything else. I didn't want to give away too much story.
Yep.
I just wanted to show the character and show that there was more to it than
previously. I guess
I'm probably jumping ahead too much again. That's the thing. I've not spoken about this for so long.
No, honestly, man. It's fine. I think it's best. We just have a conversation, and then hopefully everyone enjoys it. Like, honestly, it's fine. It's not really a big deal.
That's it. Well, I found out. I mean, this snippet of information I got was that Dimension wanted to do something along the lines of Resident Evil. In that terms, I meant it's a sandbox franchise.
Yeah, that would make sense around the time as well. That would definitely make sense. Yeah, I can.
I didn't quite, see eye to eye with that, but there you go.
Yeah.
My goal was to just to get rid of the looped kind of narrative that was, here's the box, open the box, people die, da 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 da. And the idea was to kind of create a world where you could plug in other stories.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets a little complicated. And this is why I never spoke about it, is because I didn't want to create, here's a pitch and here's a story. I wanted to create, here's a whole new world,
Yeah.
and here's multiple stories that you could have in that world.
Okay.
So myself and some friends and writers, we came up with like see, I hate the word origins. Even the title Hellraiser Origins gets on my tits so much.
Did you
It's
come
not
up
an
with that?
origin story.
Was that your idea?
No, that was Mike DeHaan.
Ah.
Because he took the reins of it a little bit. I was too naive at the time to direct it myself, so I let him run with it, which is fine. He's a nice guy and a really good director. But yeah, the idea was to create multiple stories, and you could hand over this world. You're basically selling a whole package and say this would be the start, and you
Hmm.
could have this story, this story, this story, this story.
Sort of like
I think,
a semi new IP then, I guess, but not. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. It wasn't his script and his story. It was here is a way to reinvent it so that it could
Yeah.
last 10, 20 years. That was
Fuck.
that was the plan.
Wow.
Yeah, everything about it was just epic. I should have just wrote a story about a man opening a box in the woods.
You probably would have got it then, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, make it for 200 grand, and that's it. Yeah,
I mean, but that's so cool. Like the kind of scale idea and the fact that you were trying to establish, you know, kind of like a new IP.
yeah,
A reimagined IP, I
yeah,
guess, because it's the same thing, but not. Um,
yeah.
so who? Okay, so talk me through. So you did the shoot. How did that? I mean, how was it? How did it all work? What was the reception like? How did that all go? Because obviously
Um,
that's what everyone
yeah.
everyone knows what that trailer is. I mean, everyone that knows about this has seen that trailer. So talk about that. How did that all go?
Well, I'll tell you how I found the priest. I was in a, I was in a, I was in a garden party, and
Okay.
we're sat there with a few friends and a few drinks, and there's a guy opposite me that I've never seen before.
Mm.
I'm turning to Michelle, my partner. I'm thinking that's him. That's Pinhead. He, uh, he's a cross between kind of Doug Bradley-ish and Peter Weller. I thought that's
Okay.
perfect. So I went up to this guy, complete stranger. He doesn't know me. He's never acted before. I said, would you like to be, pinhead priest in a pitch? And he just said, first of all, he's like, are you sure you've not drank too much? I'm like, no, no, I'm serious. But yeah, it was just a random encounter.
But
But I
just
think
just had the right
he was
look.
great. Yeah, yeah. But the shoot
Wow.
was good. This was just one day in a green screen studio.
Okay.
It was a case of I did a shout out on Facebook and I got 100 people to come down, and they were like the bodies
Yeah.
riding around. But I had this vision of 100 people being an epic sea of people, but you get 100 people together and it's tiny.
Yeah.
It's
Well.
so
Yeah.
underwhelming. It's real. So when we copied and pasted a few times, um, never use CG in your first pitch.
No.
That's where I went wrong because it
Why?
took over a year because we reached out to some like visual effects companies and they were all like, oh yeah, the artwork's fantastic, we love what you're doing, we love Pinhead, da 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 da. But when it came to the nitty gritty of them actually doing it, they just kept letting us down. They kept like, oh, it's not done yet, it's not done yet. Next week, weeks, months. You
Oh.
know, 7 months went by and we just had nothing. In the end, I went back to my computer game friends from way back,
Hmm.
and we then built the city at the end in
Yeah.
3D Max in a game engine.
So why? So I'm surprised. Why did it take so long then from the VFX company?
Uh, I, who knows? I mean, these were like top companies. They just, I guess, when you start something and you're working for free, and you get you wrapped up in the momentum. But when
Hmm.
that passes, you realize you've really got to graft to get this thing done. The other
Yeah.
work comes. I guess it falls by the wayside.
Uh,
And well, what I was trying to do wasn't, it wasn't easy. It was a camera panning through 3,000 bodies,
Yeah.
with a mechanical flower in the background.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not easy.
Yeah.
If
Yeah. True.
you look at the flower, it's just a JPEG. So it
Is it
works.
really? God
Hmm.
damn! Wow. Amazing. So okay, so you did the shoot,
Yeah.
and then from there, what happened after the shoot? So I mean, talk me through what happened. So obviously you had the delays, but
So
you all got
the trailer,
finished.
the trailer's coming together.
Mm.
It's looking good. A lot of things I would change. A lot of things I would, if I did it again now, it's a different story.
A
But
lot more
okay,
people probably.
going back then, it was looking good. It was coming together. Um, at the time, I was getting pretty good at reaching out to the press. So every time I did a movie prior to that,
Mm.
I would reach out to the press and get them to do an interview or illustrations and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I
Wow.
had all these press contacts lined up.
Mm.
I would say, probably 20 interviews lined up for this. So the goal was we do the pitch, we get the press push, we try and make the video go viral, and then they come to us, and then we present the whole thing. That was the
Okay.
goal. Yeah, because if you go into, a dimension as is, we've never directed a feature before. You just get laughed at.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get taken seriously. So
But
the idea
even with
then,
your history as even with your history as the industry.
I'm just the concept art monkey. Well, I
No,
was,
that's
where they see it. Yeah. So I could explain to the esoteric thing and all this, but to them, they wouldn't really be that bothered. It's
wow.
it's a harsh
Yeah, I mean
industry.
that's shit. That genuinely surprises me.
Mm.
Okay, so well, I mean that yeah, I mean that I guess that idea works
Yeah.
on that
Yeah,
premise. Then
you
get them come to
make
you. I mean,
you. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
It's been done before. If something goes viral, you get the attention.
yeah,
Even if the studios weren't interested, it gets that much attention. You'll get something from it. You'll be able
mm,
to take the word somewhere. So there we go. So a week before it's due to be released, I have 20 interviews lined up. I have even Variety magazine.
nice.
We're going to do an interview piece. Loads of American film mags, loads of prosthetics people. But then a week before, Clive Barker, but in mind, I did this because my absolute love for Clive Barker. I wanted to,
Mm.
create this universe, take it further.
Well, I can see a
So
Clive Barker thing in the corner there. I think
yeah, yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yeah,
So a week before, Clive Barker or Clive Barker's um, stable or whatever you call it, Clive Barker's people
yep,
announced that it's coming sort of out of semi-retirement to do a Hellraiser movie.
right.
So all the press just killed me straight away. Who wants to do
Yeah.
a piece Origins when Clive Barker's coming back? Um, so yeah, I was just killed dead, a week before.
Did they
But
know about it before or not?
of course, yeah, the whole Clive Barker coming back to do a new Hellraiser was utter bullshit.
Right.
If he wasn't doing it, it was, I feel, and even for someone like me who's absolutely, I look like Barker, I look what he does, I have full
Yep.
respect for the guy, but I think somebody in his group did that to shut me down. Right?
Okay.
It's crazy because I was just a concept guy sat in the north of England in the living room because there was no room in the studio to do
Mm.
anything. But, on a desk creating this stuff.
Well, it's not. I mean,
There's
it's not going to
nobody.
hurt. It's not going to hurt the brand in any way. I mean, where's the detrimental factor for that level? I don't understand. Yeah. Wow. Okay. What year was this then? When this all happened specifically? What year was that?
It must have been 2013, perhaps 12, 13.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. That would make sense then
right.
because there was the 2008 like treatment by Clive,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was a 2014 pitch or script that went nowhere anyway.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, that would, I mean, yeah, that would make sense, because that's
Yeah, I mean, it's
shocking, man.
straight after, I thought, what do I do? I was pretty crushed.
Yeah,
That was me.
obviously.
I've had enough. I'm going to crawl under my rock. But I thought, what do I do? Do I release all the stories online? Do I release what it was all about? Do I send that? And in the end, I thought, you know what? Fuck it. I'll keep all the stories to myself. I'm not going to release anything to anybody. But Mike Lehan reached out to Dimension, and he showed them the trailer, and they said they absolutely loved it, but they've got no intention to make a Hellraiser movie at all. So again, it was just killed dead.
But they did because they've done rights retainers. So, but I guess they've got no intention of actually making a Hellraiser movie. They just want to do rights retainers, I guess, is the point more than anything.
To rephrase that, to do a proper Hellraiser movie.
Yeah. I mean that's such a shame.
Yeah.
What a shame.
Mm.
Have you spoken? Have you personally spoken to anyone about what happened from Clive Barker's kind of situation, or
things I didn't understand is before that happened, about I think 3 months before, I was invited over to come and speak to Clive Barker to his house.
Wow. Okay. I mean, that's not something that happens lightly, is it? I mean,
but he mustn't have known that I don't live in LA, so it wasn't. I couldn't do it. I couldn't spend the grand and fly over just to speak to him, even though I would have loved to. Didn't have the money or the resources, so I had to say no. I wish I had.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
That's my biggest regret, but so it was all a bit of an odd situation.
I mean, that is. Yeah, I mean, that is odd. I mean, God damn, man, that's.
Tell you what, though, the best thing that came from this is that I got to know a guy called Russell Cherrington, who he did the Nightbreed Cabal Cut.
Okay.
So he was good friends. He is still good friends with Clive. So through this whole thing, I became good friends with Russell, and we're still good friends. We chat every day, and we're making stuff together. We're doing movies, pitch work together. So if anything from the whole thing that has come from it, it's a good friendship with numerous people, and a shitload of stories that I've kind of. Because just to jump back a bit, so I had, let's say, you've read the Heart of the Beast pitch. That was a kind of, I guess you'd call it origin story if you like, but that was more my take on it. So there was this story, there was the Heart of the Beast story, which was set in Citadel before Man.
Yep.
Yeah. Just imagine a kind of Dune meets Videodrome, kind of twisted pre-Man world, Star Wars meets Hellraiser type of thing.
Yeah.
There was that one. That was written by myself and a good friend Andy Sharrett. And then there was another one that was more of a contemporary twist, written by myself and Paul Griffiths, which was about a Hellraiser universe that was separate to ours, that was about to mix with modern day. Kind of like two worlds overlapping, two realities overlapping.
Oh, okay.
And in those overlaps, you would get kind of some of your typical Hellraiser story type things going on.
Yeah.
But it would be mixed with this other complete dimension that was kind of physically taking over a city. So two cities melding together. So that was another. The Heart of the Beast story I took, and that's in various things I've done since.
Oh, is it?
I've started a graphic novel called Cranial Alpha, and that's kind of in there. But the city one became, once Hellraiser was canned, we took that and we made it into a TV show called Fallen City. And all these things are in my new art book, so you could see how it looked.
Is this the
Rivals.
Is the what art book is this? The one which was this is the Kickstarter one, isn't it?
Yeah. That's out now to the public. It's called Rivals, and it's got all artwork from Hellraiser, artwork from like Masters of the Universe and all this kind of thing. The history of Lovecraftian, because okay, so you got Hellraiser, and that became a story called Fallen City, which was a TV show, which we worked on for about a year after Hellraiser was stopped.
Yeah.
And then we pitched that to a few people. There was no takers, and then even that was then transformed into a H.P. Lovecraft anthology.
Oh, really?
So we got all this work, all this artwork and stories, and everything kind of gets recycled.
Yeah.
So and then after, I don't know, over on 2013, 14, after maybe 3, 4 years of pitching to studios and producers, I got to a point where I just thought, the hell with this. If you want something to do, you've got to do it yourself.
Yeah, so true.
Myself and a few friends, we've spent 2 years working our arse off, buying equipment, buying cameras, getting favors for people and swapping favors, and we're just directing our own movie. And we've been doing that for 3 months, 4 months.
Wow.
So that's where it's all led to.
Okay. Yeah. So what is the what is the movie then?
I'll call it Project X for now.
Oh, so you don't want to say anything. Can't say anything for now.
I can speak briefly about it. It's I guess a home invasion movie with a bit of a twist, with a kind of body horror, supernatural vibe. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And when is that likely to kind of be?
It'll be now 11th. I would say that will be done by spring.
Done shooting or done completely
done shooting and edit by spring. I would say spring.
Okay. And are you releasing that yourself or?
No, we'll be looking to show it on the cinema. It'll be a big deal. Yeah, we'll be looking to push that to certain key people. Yeah, but the key is when we create it now, we've got no studio involvement. There's no investors to screw with us. We're just doing it ourselves.
Wow. Well, look, if you need someone to review it, just give me a shout. Be more than happy. To.
That'll be great. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, okay. So that's quite a tale, to be honest, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
I can't believe that it all just got shunted down.
Yeah, I know. It's
just like the click of a finger, gone, just done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing. It's amazing to me that like the I guess it speaks volumes about. I mean, anyone that knows anything about Hellraiser knows that Dimension Films they've not been bothered about it for so long anyway. So it's not a surprise, but it just illustrates that even further, where they say how much they enjoy it and they like it, but they've got no interest in doing it and pursuing it. It's just like, okay, so I mean, what?
I think of the timing though. I think when I hit them, Dimension must have been on rocky ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now in the last 2-3 years with Weinstein and such.
Yeah.
If they've ever been in a position to make a big, we're talking like $150 million to make that movie that I want to make. So to pitch that, it would have cost a lot.
Yeah. But, do you think something like that would have? I mean, this is a bold question, obviously, but do you think something like that would have made a return, or not? Or do you think it would have been too niche? I mean, what's your thoughts on that, really? Because I guess that's one of the main things, isn't it? When you go to pitch something, is where can you see it making a return?
I think long term it could have done. I think it could have been the next, like I said, reference Resident Evil, only because that spawned X amount of films afterwards. That was the idea. So if you imagine the first big horror film on the scale of Star Wars, it's pretty grand.
Yeah. I mean, I think from like a personal level, that wasn't like a trick question or anything. Because like from a personal level, I think we are genuinely due a return to that style of horror movie. Because I think at the end of the day, like we've been doing slashers and stuff to death now, and it's as an avid horror fan, as I am, sure you are as well. It's just it's been done now. Like we need to get back to something a little bit more dark and
yeah. I mean, I would say I was a horror fan, but I'm not. When I look back at Hellraiser, I don't view that as a all out horror movie because it's a dark, imaginative fantasy for me.
yeah,
It's horror for the last 10 years. Let's face it, has been utter garbage.
yeah, yeah,
It's took imaginative characters and washed them down the drain.
yeah.
It's just gore slasher movies, and that's what I'm saying about creating a character and taking like it took 9 months or whatever to do, just fully flesh out, this horror icon. You just don't get that in many movies, unfortunately.
Well, no, they just go, oh, well, that's a cool mask. We'll give that guy that mask, and there you go.
Yeah.
We'll give him a big knife. He's sorted. That's fine.
That's it. You're done. Yeah.
Jesus. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
true. So to kind of get back to the kind of design process and the world which you were making, because I guess unless there's any more with respect to the story of the production and things like that involved that you want to cover. Yeah, I mean, is there anything else really to kind of talk about with respect to that, or?
I mean, the shoot itself.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, literally just anything really, because
Yeah, I mean, that was like I say, it was a 1 day shoot, and it was a case of right, we're doing it in, we might do it, right, we're doing it in 3 weeks.
oh wow,
It was
okay,
yeah, because I basically I printed off a poster of my priest with this like symbolic city behind him. I just took it to Boulder's Brass. I took it to all these different people. I took it to one of the best leather makers in the UK, and I said, will you make me the costume? And he's
yeah,
like, yeah, I will.
wow,
Just straight away. So I had a leather maker who's one of the best in the UK make these strips of leather down his side. I don't know whether you see it in the trailer, but the idea was these strips of leather were stripped from the beast. So
oh,
they were
okay,
pieces of skin nailed to his body.
wow,
That was the goal. And then the bones, they were actually leather as well. They just looked like bones.
oh
Everything,
really?
everything was made real. So the leather kind of gauntlets were like interwoven with actual real bones and all this kind of thing.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ, wow,
yeah. Then the prosthetics I took to a guy in London called I remember it's John Shrooney. He worked on the original Hellraiser, Nightbreed,
yeah,
all these things. Same thing. Have a look at this. Will you do it for me? Yeah, yeah, he did.
nice,
Considering I was just a guy who did concept art out was living room. I
yeah.
was like, I was just totally blown away. These people were helping, but yeah,
Well,
that was
I
huge.
guess if you've got a passion for something, people tend to kind of buy into it as well, and they feed off of it because it's part of what they enjoy as well, right? And I mean that's great.
Yeah, yeah. And then it was 1 day shoot, and um, yeah, kind of self-financed between myself and two other people. And if anybody wants to do anything like this themselves, all the money goes on food, which is insane.
Does it
I
really?
spent more money feeding the crew than I did on anything else. It's yeah, save up and buy soup.
Jesus, just go get them sandwiches from Tesco or something.
Yeah, chicken.
What
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of budget, I mean, can you say how much it all costs? I mean,
It cost 6 grand, the whole thing.
I
Yeah,
I'm really surprised by that. Wow.
yeah. Which, like I said, if I did that again today, I could
Hmm.
probably do that for £500. Knowing
Really?
what, knowing what I know now and how to do it. Yeah,
Jesus.
we didn't need such a big studio. Yeah, I could definitely do that now.
Wow.
But I wouldn't. I don't know. But yeah, 6K. That's, I
See,
think it was
because
because we wanted to do camera angles that you couldn't do with just a cheap setup.
yeah,
So the camera coming from total aerial view into the box and things like that. You couldn't do that with just a normal setup. You had to have the right gear for that, and you had to
yeah.
have kind of like Hollywood-esque equipment to make that happen.
Okay. See,
Yeah.
because I heard 6 grand and I thought, well, that's quite cheap to be honest, but I mean, if you're saying that you could do it, for about £500 now, I mean, Jesus Christ, that's fantastic. That's great. Get another one out. Let's do a mini series.
I'll start now. It'll be out in about 3 years. Organize it all. Yeah.
God damn. So why? So what? So I mean, tell me about the story then. I guess because I've delved into. I personally really liked it. I mean, that was the Heart of the Beast one, right? And I really liked it because from my side of things, it was like it doesn't do anything with the established lore, but it just goes. Here's something new, but it's set way back because it was supposedly set like before man. So for me, I really liked that.
Yeah, here's the thing. Mike did that kind of. Mike put the buzzwords at the start. Okay, before man, before which I liked because he had his own take on it as well. He was gonna pitch his own story as well. But, it's fine. But I wouldn't exactly say it was before man. I suppose.
Okay.
I would say you look at like Dune or Star Wars. It was just in its own world.
Okay. So like just yeah. That makes sense.
While humans were still bashing rocks with their heads, it was still before Earth, if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to make it its own thing.
Yeah. That makes sense. So what was the So I mean, what can you say about the story on a whole? Like how would you envisage the whole thing going? Because a lot of people took. I really liked it, but a lot of people took some kind of umbrage over the kind of humanization of the Pinhead character with his family and things like. I quite liked it because it drives motivation. From a character which
first thing is dispel a few myths. It's not Pinhead, and it's never meant to be Pinhead.
Okay.
Even though funny story before we get into that. After this was done, after it was canned, I did an illustration of Doug Bradley as my version of the priest. Fun art. Just a bit of fun art. Jesus Christ, the last the last back I got off that.
Really?
Oh God, I had Doug Bradley on email about trying to kick my head in. Through email, I had.
Sorry, are you joking? Are you being serious?
Yeah.
All because of a piece of bloody fan art.
Because people were linking the two.
Yeah, but who cares? It's fan art. Jesus Christ, man!
Doug was going to conventions, and people in the audience were going, "When's Hellraiser Origins out?"
It takes 2 seconds just to say, "Oh, it's just fan art. Calm down." Like what?
Yeah, I think I see his point. It's probably he probably said a few 3-4 times, "I'm not involved," and after the 10th time, he's like, "Rage."
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't warrant that. Like nothing warrants that. Like, come on.
I know. God, just fun out, guys. Calm down. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I wasn't expecting to hear that. Jesus. That's. Well, to be fair, it's not that surprising. I've heard other bits and pieces, so it's not.
But I mean, other than that, the reception was good. I mean, the Hellraiser community just welcomed it.
Yeah.
You look at what else has happened with reboots and reimagined; they get absolutely canned online.
Yep. Yeah, they really do.
The latest one was
Judgment.
The new Men in Black and things like that.
Okay, yeah. That's not going down so well. A lot of people are crying, feminism and all of this kind of nonsense for it all. But to be fair though, reboots and reimaginings, I think people are just sick of them now anyway. Because at the end of the day, like people just go, okay. So where are the new stories? Where's the new IPs? Where's the new concepts?
That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to create a sandbox environment where you can plug in new stories.
Yeah.
So the story was about the Heart of the Beast was, taking a bit of the engineer from number one.
Yep.
And having this kind of all enveloping godlike beast. That was kind of the old gods hacked him up. They fornicated with pieces of his body, and they consumed him. and then somebody got away with the heart, and then the heart became this kind of icon. And going back to the lower level, the classes, it's like, imagine these massive citadels. Each one of these, like, moving cities
Yep.
would be scooping up bodies and turning human matter to like carbonated walls and all this kind of thing. So it's all kind of, I guess I would call it a metamorphosis of the flesh into these big physical citadels.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, where the kind of these gods would sit above. You have all these cults and cliques.
Yeah.
And then there's this guy who's battling with his faith. I guess much like in the franchise when Pinhead battles with his human side from time to time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but I mean, it's already pretty twisted to begin with in this story. Nobody is nice. Nobody's like. Everybody dies in a horrible way. Kids will get mutilated and all this thing. But it's him trying to, battling with his faith, I guess, and his spirituality, when all the time that is in itself is being just dominated and tormented by these cult leaders.
Okay.
His rise to the ranks and what happens to him.
So he was still the Hell Priest, though, right? That's what you called him,
yeah.
or not?
Because if you imagine, imagine a lower level city where all these factions, you're either worshipped or you're a worshipper, and ahead of each one, they're all twisted,
Yeah.
They all think they're God, basically. So they all have this God complex. Yeah. So it's one guy's rise, one guy who's a bad guy in itself rising through these ranks.
Okay. So so it was the beast the Leviathan-esque thing,
well, I think
or not?
Kind of. I saw him as if you were to put it into Earth terms, he would be a fallen angel. But
Okay.
I don't want to go down that route because I think that's where Hellraiser's the original Hellraiser story would have had its origins would be a fallen angel.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just to kind of like almost like H.P. Lovecraft, the old ones, the elder gods before all these incarnations of priests and everything else came about.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm very familiar with Lovecraft, which was what I got when I read the kind of outline, the synopsis. Ironically enough, actually, funnily enough, I replied to a comment. So if the guy's watching this, that would be hilarious because this guy was like, there was nothing. It's all about order and chaos and all this kind of stuff. The person said that there's nothing Lovecraftian about Hellraiser, but there always was, and there was something Lovecraftian because it is all about the unknown. It was always about this just bizarre being in the sky and like a bizarre labyrinth and
all these machinations, all these kind of worshippers of other worlds, and it's all about other dimensional, isn't it? It's all about escaping this world and taking influence from another. That's what it's about.
So okay, so you had the engineer-esque creature, the what did you call it in the pitch?
I guess I haven't read it for so long. I think it's just called the Beast.
Yeah.
The Beast.
And it was almost like a shapeshifter, right? It had like an avatar.
Yeah, that's it. It's see, I don't see. I don't like to see flesh as a solid thing. I like to mix things up. So I'd have a tree that was a part of an insect, and it'd have a limb, and maybe the limb is human, maybe it's not, and everything's intertwined and amalgamated.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it would have been a hard sell. It was like like trying to sell Jodorowsky's Dune. It was just too mental.
Great scale, just maybe a bit too much for studios anyway.
I mean, even when I worked on Battle Los Angeles, the alien I designed as an amalgamation of skin and machine. So you'd have machine parts with human veins going through it. But when it came to the crunch, you're like, oh, we can't get our head around that. It's going to have to be there's an alien arm, there's a machine part.
Oh, God damn it! Like, come on, how's it? That's not that difficult to do, surely. I mean, how can you not wrap your head around that? Like, I mean, that's like it goes back to, again, something you've got in the background there, but it goes back to Giga. It goes back to that kind of well, you say biomech, but I mean, it's that kind of biomechanical, kind of it's world and kind of designs which he, was so famous for. Yeah. Shocking.
Yeah.
So what?
I would love to have, like you said, walking along and there's a guy on maybe a stake, kind of like Jesus, like hung up, but then from his body is a tree, or from his limbs a kind of tree bark, and then they turn it into insects and creatures, and the whole thing is moving and that type of thing. That's what I envisioned for that kind of world. Yeah. Imagine that, like, it's ramped up beyond a crazy level. When you get
just that on steroids.
You get your priests going into these citadels, and the walls are fused with people, and then those people are fused with like machines, and it's all intertwined. So.
See, I think that would have been epic. For me, I think that's. For me, I think that is genuinely
it'd be dark. It'd be dark as hell. It'd be dark and bloody and gory, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I think that's what's needed. Like from a personal perspective, I think that's what's needed for the franchise. And we spoke very briefly just before, but Miramax now owning the rights. I mean, what are your kind of hopes with respect to Miramax and Hellraiser? I guess you're kind of done with it, but
I guess it sounds really, really bad, really egotistical, but they would have to ask me,
okay.
And that won't happen until I've probably done at least 3 features. So that's yeah. The only other option, I guess, is a fan-made movie, but
I guess there's no budget for that, is there? Though, like, you wouldn't be able to do it justice, right? From
you
what
you're,
you're,
like I said, you wouldn't even be able to afford the pies to feed people.
Yeah.
So it's too difficult.
God damn. Oh, God. So because I want to touch on some of your current work that you're doing as well. So is there anything else you want to say about the Hellraiser Origins, or just anything about the production, because the website's still up there, because the website's still going? I mean,
yeah, I think it is. Yeah,
no, definitely is. I've been on it. 100% is still going. Someone's still paying for the domain somewhere along the line. Someone, but no, I mean, it's still up there. It's like, what was the response? What would you say to anyone that enjoyed the trailer and enjoyed any of the content which I've produced on it? What would you say to them?
If you enjoyed what I touched upon on the trailer and everything else and what I've talked about, then have a look at the projects I've done, because I get a piece of Hellraiser in everything. I mean, I did the teen fantasy, the Shannara Chronicles. But you look at Dag the Moor, and he is a messed up dark elf with a face ripped in half and held together with metal clamps.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's pure. It's just my take on it. It's like Pinhead meets Skeletor. So I managed to get my little world in everything.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the beauty, because I cover concept art on my channel, and one of the great things, especially when you cover like a franchise specifically, and the concept art from the franchise, is that you do see it being reworked. Not necessarily, because obviously sometimes it's not from the same artist, but you'll see the concept ideas being reused in that franchise.
That is a good point, and that is one of the main reasons why I've shifted from doing concept art to trying to get my own things going, because I found I was becoming the guy that people turn to look at the darker side of things.
Yeah.
So you look at Wrath of the Titans. Okay, I got asked to do the Minotaur and all these kind of things, and I did them. The Minotaur was this disfigured guy that had disease-riddled face and all this. And I did a take on all of them, and they really twisted But then even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, my work was pretty messed up. But then by the time it gets to the end,
yeah, it's kind of watered down a bit.
yeah. So I was getting tired of that. I was getting pretty sick of that, and I thought, if I want to be fulfilled as an artist, I can't have a filter anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
I went down the route of doing my art books and trying to get my own stuff going, which is difficult. It's a long process, but we're getting there.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I shared your Kickstarter project a fair few times, and I only shared it because bizarrely I didn't even make the link, but I shared it because of the He-Man artwork, which I mean I don't know whether you're allowed to talk about that project at all because of NDAs.
No. Well, I think a lot of people ran with the idea that this was official He-Man artwork, and it wasn't. It was. I've been trying to get on that movie for like 2 years, right? And I kept doing this work and sending it to these people, getting no replies whatsoever. Do my own take on it. I mean, I'd sent them to everybody.
Yeah.
And I found out that I think we all saw who was it that was penned to direct at some point, and he released.
Wasn't it? I think McG.
Yeah, and he released some concept art. It showed him looking at the screen.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I've missed it. I've screwed up. I'm not getting on that now. It's gone. So I released the artwork.
Yeah.
I think, well, I've missed it, so what the hell?
Well, yeah.
And it just went viral. It went crazy. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I look without logging on and having a look myself. I think even I think everyone was reporting on it being.
I got a message from Neil Blomkamp.
Did you?
Yeah, to say he loves Skeletor. And the Skeletor went everywhere.
The Skeletor, honestly, it was badass. I really, really liked that concept. Like, just the whole stuff was fantastic. I can't.
It did. I found out it did through a director friend of mine did get asked to go and see the studio heads, and he took my work with him, and they said they absolutely loved it.
Oh, but really?
But they just don't know what to do with the franchise. I don't know whether
it's not hard. Do that. Like, just do that. You like it? Do that. What do you mean you don't know what to do with the franchise? Just do that. What? How's that hard? What?
I think it's a story of my life, though. I'm just getting cursed. Yeah.
God damn it.
We'll be cursed with the same thing over and over.
Well, the thing is, I guess the thing is everyone's looking for their golden egg at the moment, the golden kind of Marvel egg, isn't it? So they're not so inclined to do the darker stuff because if they can put a more family-friendly spin on it and get 20 movies out of it and established universe, then that's what they want to do. But there's nothing imaginative about it. It's boring. It's piss boring.
Disney. I absolutely despise Disney and what they're doing. It's like I said, go. I don't repeat myself, but going back to the level of passion you put into a character, when you look at what they're doing in Disney, it's
just kind of like one and done. Like, oh yeah, there you go, done. Peace. See you later. Just roll it into production.
I mean, you look at some of the greatest directors. The movies are so layered; it's unreal. I mean, like I said, I learned a lot from Alex Perez in the way he puts in subliminal imagery in all his movies, and I've been doing the same with the characters for years.
Yeah.
And working with him just upped that level. It made me realise you've got to work twice as hard if you want something to really succeed.
Yeah.
You've got to work in those layers. You've got to tell stories within stories within stories.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening with all of Disney, apart from the working in that kind of subliminal stuff just to make you buy McDonald's and Nike jackets. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, they're very smart at doing that. All of the all of the brand deals and stuff. God damn. So I mean, let's talk about what you're currently doing then. Your kind of current projects and talk about the art book itself. I mean, I'll leave a link down below, but where can people find that? Because I'm more than happy to do that.
Yeah. Just on my own website, gerardart.com, there's a shop link. Like I said, the Kickstarter happened a good 6 months back.
Yep.
And it took me this amount of time to get the books actually physically done.
Yeah.
So they're shipping out this week, which means that the public versions of the book, the trade edition, is out now. It's kind of like 2 days ago, so you can buy the book now.
Okay.
And
Wow.
that has all H.P. Lovecraft and a Master Universe section called Retro Harbingers, and it has a whole section of kind of movie pitch then and what's coming up. And it shows images from Hellraiser, Fallen City, the H.P. Lovecraft, Arkham Asylum, all these TV shows that I kind of worked on and tried to get going.
Okay, awesome. And with respect to current projects that you're actually working on, I mean, what can we expect from you in the future? And
I'm back with Neil Marshall again. I'm working on one of his movies. So I did Hellboy a few months back. I didn't touch the creatures this time. It was just costume design, which is something different. It's pretty cool. It was different. So I'm back with Neil again for a few weeks, and then I've not took any consultant jobs on at all for the rest of the year. I'm going to concentrate on getting this movie made.
Nice.
It's going to be a tight, but that's the plan.
So with respect to that movie, Project X, as you called it, I mean, how are you going to go? Because I find this stuff fascinating, and hopefully some people watching will as well. But what's the process? Because you are your own studio at the moment with respect to that. So
we are myself and Mike Clark, not Mike DeHaan. Yeah, we are producers. I am production designer, casting director, just caterer, everything.
Where's it been shot then? Where have you been shooting it?
Different locations. We managed to blag a few places in the northwest, but the bulk of it will be shot in a B&B in the northeast where I live. Okay. And it's a friend of a friend owns the B&B, so I'm going to go down there next week and try and strike a deal for like 15 crew to take over for a few weeks.
Yeah,
nice. It's just a matter of if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah, well, no, it's true. Completely true. Okay, cool. So all in the UK then, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. And you said you had hopes of, kind of at least sending it to cinemas. So how?
Yeah, I mean, there's already sales agent interested. What that means at this stage, who knows? But yeah, I've just got to get it done. It's going to get edited and graded and everything else.
Yeah.
What good thing did happen from it is, like I said, favors for favors. There's a guy I won't mention in case he doesn't want me to name his name.
Of course.
He's one of the top CG guys, I guess, in the business. But he was so sick of Hollywood and all the shit that comes with it that he's going to do his own thing.
Nice.
And I'm going to design an alien for him. In return, for free, he'll do some CG work on my movie.
Nice. That's good.
That's the way you've got to get things done.
Yeah. No, that's good. Hopefully, it won't take as long as the VFX for the Origins shoot.
Oh, no. Everything will be in prosthetics first. I think that's the key. You do everything in prosthetics.
Yeah.
And the seat just kind of like
just add on.
Tweaks it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah. Wow. Well, I think that kind of covers pretty much everything. I mean, why did you stay quiet on it for so long, Paul? Because obviously loads of people have been asking about this. The website's still live. Definitely is. Confirm that.
I guess it was just because there were so many stories with it, and even though to me it was dead, I think Mike DeHaan was still trying to push it a little bit to dimension. I just didn't want to. I didn't want all that hard work to be for nothing. I didn't want just to release it all in, because, like you said, I released it and it just disappeared, nothing. So I didn't want the same thing to happen to all the stories as well. And all that kind of, I wanted to keep that to myself and see what I can do with it, really. Yeah. Plus, like I said, for a good year, it floored me. I wasn't in the mood to do anything after that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. I mean, you said you spent, what was it, like 9 months designing the character. So I mean, to go from that,
the character and I had this city that you don't see, and it was too expensive to build. And the idea was this, you know the way the box changes and
Yep.
whatnot.
Yep.
The whole city would change, which
Well,
then
like
later,
the box kind of thing, like a reflection of it.
later became Fallen City, the TV show. But the whole city would change. So every part of the architecture meant something. It was, there was imagery from Neolithic days and why it was Neolithic, and that was linked to other things. So I designed the whole city as it moved. So yeah, it was a long process.
Wow. I mean, it'd kill you. It just, yeah, you spend so long on something, you'd just be like, right, okay, yeah, thanks. I'm done now for a bit. That would,
That's it. Yeah, next day job.
yeah,
Got to find a job. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I can appreciate that kind of. Yeah, it would definitely floor you. So, with respect to all of that work, do you still have some of the artwork lying around, like from?
Yeah, I've got it all. It's. I think most of it is in because I did 3 books. Um, one book was all about using subliminal imagery in characters.
Yeah.
That was called Company of Shadows. That was done straight after I picked myself up, and then there was Paul Gerrard Volume 1 and 2. So between all those 3, I think they're all in there. I would think.
Okay. So I'm going to ask. This isn't for any of the viewers. I mean, it'll be in here, but just as a caveat, it's fine. I'll ask something on a personal basis. Because I'm moving house next week.
Yeah.
If I wanted to actually purchase something to say hang on my wall, could I do that or not from your site? As opposed to, because obviously a book, I'm not going to cut up a book. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I said this is a personal thing. I really like your artwork, and I would quite like something on my wall. So I'm asking whether there's a possibility. Do you know what I mean? Do you do that or not? Because I'm sure there's someone that's watching this that would equally do something like that as well and would like your work.
I have done part of the Kickstarter. I did a lot of ink drawings and things, and there's a few canvas paintings on there, but not many, to be honest. I don't get time. I'll do something for you. I'll do an ink drawing and get that in the post.
Oh, you don't have to do that, man. I mean, I would love it, but you don't have to. Jesus.
It's my pleasure. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. But honestly, that wasn't. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, because honestly, like, the artwork is absolutely fantastic, and it again, because I'm sure people watching this, it resonates with them as well. Like for me, it is artwork. Like for me, I don't look at it and go, "Oh, it's concept art." I look at it and I say, "Well, this is genuinely, it is artwork, and it's stuff which I would like to look at."
Because I didn't train to be a concept artist. It was kind of the job was offered to me because a guy seen my work in a gallery, and he said, "Would you design this, this, this?"
Yeah.
So I developed the style to meet the brief, a photorealistic concept style that can be done in a lightning fast way. So the reason my work is so different to everybody else because I didn't train like everybody else.
Yeah.
I tend not to think like all those trained people do.
Well, yeah, because you kind of get in the box then, didn't you? If you trained like it, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
No, because I mean, I'm not going to be like a little fanboy or anything, but from a personal perspective, I genuinely, really, really do like the artwork. It is.
Thank you.
All the Hellraiser stuff to one side. Like, I still need to check out your Lovecraft stuff because I mean, I am a huge Lovecraft fan. But no, I mean, like there's concept artists and then there's like art which is used for concept. Like for me, I look at that stuff and I genuinely view it as art which should be shown or should be viewed. Do you know what I mean? Like for me, it's stuff which I would like to see on a wall. Hence the question for asking.
It's done. I mean, each piece is done at an enormous scale. So if I were to present it, it'd be like on a 12-foot poster sheet or something. Jesus. That would be the right way to present it. But
I guess because of all the detail, right?
Yeah, it's the way I like to work. But unfortunately, you're presenting it on a JPEG, on a nice Apple phone.
Yeah. God damn. Right. Okay. Well. Okay. I've done my little fanboy moment asking to see if I could buy anything. I really appreciate you taking the time today. Genuinely, thank you so much. Is there anything you want to say to anyone watching this with respect to the work that you're doing? Any
I just want to say a big kind of thanks to all the Kickstarter people that supported me, and also the Hellraiser crew, the Hellraiser family, the Hellraiser kind of fan base that have been behind me. Because, like I said, you get these kind of cliques of people online that are usually quite abrasive and quite nasty towards like type of thing I do. But no, the Hellraiser people have just been really
embraced
good.
it. Good, cool. Well, from myself, massively appreciate you coming on. I will leave all of the links down below to anything that you want. I mean, I'm going to speak to you just off in 1 second as well. So anything that you want to leave me down below will be there. So anyone that's watching this that wants to check it out, please do go into the description box, check it all out. And yeah, I mean, stay tuned for this Project X, which will be happening. I mean, that's piqued my interest for sure. So, guys, again, if you like this, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much, Paul, for joining me today. I've been Mr. H. Take care.